Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching TopTenzNet, and in the video today, the top 10 Disney theme park attractions that no longer exist. Just before we get started with today's video, I do want to recommend another channel. It's a brand new channel that I am hosting. It's called Biographics. It's biographies of notable people from history and the present day. We've done Ernest Hemingway, the Queen of England, Vladimir Putin, all sorts of different people, alive and dead. New videos every Monday and Thursday. Please do go check out Biographics and subscribe. There is a link in the description below. Alright, so Walt Disney, he opened Disneyland in 1955, and since then the corporation has grown its park locations all over the world. Over 20 million people visit each of these locations every single year, so it only makes sense that in order to keep those Disney fans coming back, improvements need to be made to the park's rides and attractions. Here are 10 of the attractions that simply didn't make the cut. Number 10. Videopolis. When you think of Disneyland, you probably don't think about nightclubs. During the 1980s, Michael Eisner, the CEO of Disneyland, decided that he wanted attractions that would appeal to local teenagers. At the time, season passes were only $40 all year, or $35 during the summer break with a student ID. That meant that local teens could visit Disneyland every night of the year to dance to music videos and live bands. There was even a TV show on the Disney Channel showcasing Videopolis. They also hosted a televised event called Disneyland's Summer Vacation Party, where Disney mascots danced in the audience with the teens while listening to the very 80s bands Oingo Boingo and ELO. This teen dream came crashing down when a 15-year-old died from getting shot in the parking lot of Disneyland in 1987. For years, Studio K at Knott's Berry Farms in Anaheim, California, hosted dances every night, and it was a go-to place for high school kids since admission was free. Disneyland quickly became designated as the place for rich kids to go clubbing since it cost $40 to get in. With inflation, that's actually closer to $92 today, which most parents could not afford. Local gangs were hanging out in the parking lots, and it's probably safe to guess they were selling a little something to enhance the Disney experience. Disneyland quickly realized that this nightclub didn't exactly align with their family values and decided to end Videopolis in 1989. Today, the theater is used for family-friendly performances. Number 9. The Great Movie Ride. This ride was a collaboration between Disney and Turney Classic Movies at Disney World in Orlando, Florida, and it began in 2015, expiring in 2017. Guests sat in a car that was guided through sets that were made to look like classic movies like Singing in the Rain, The Wizard of Oz, The Public Enemy, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. They were all complete with their own animatronic actors that played out famous scenes. Audience members sat in a moving car for 18 minutes. While the ride was iconic, the movies that were included may have been unknown to young children who were visiting Disney World. Surely Turner Classic Movies was hoping to entice people to tune in to watch these classics, but maybe they didn't get the views they were hoping for. The attraction is being replaced with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which combines an animated film and real-life changing sets. It truly does look like it will be stunning, and it officially is scheduled to open and premiere in 2018. Number 8. The Peoplemover and the Rocket Rods. In the 1960s, Tomorrowland was a showcase of how Disney Imagineers saw the future. One ride the guests absolutely loved was called the Peoplemover. Slow-moving cars go along tracks that are built throughout all of Tomorrowland. The ride never stopped, and people got on and off so efficiently that there was never a very long line. When they revamped the look of the Tomorrowland park, they decided that the Peoplemover just wasn't cool enough for the new style in Disney World Orlando. They kept the old tracks and added a new ride called the Rocket Rods. Each rocket-shaped vehicle could only take a few people at a time. The ride sped up and then slowed down at every turn. Wait times in line were nearly 2 hours long, and guests were very underwhelmed by the entire experience. Not only was the concept itself a bust, but only a few weeks after opening the ride, it had to be shut down for 3 months of repairs. Even when it reopened again, the ride needed to be shut down for repairs at least once a day, and the concrete tracks supporting the ride were beginning to crumble. In the year 2000, the ride closed down completely, but the tracks, they are still there, gathering dust. Number 7. America Sings. In order to celebrate the upcoming bicentennial 200-year anniversary of the United States, Disneyland opened the attraction America Sings in 1974. It was a musical show set on a rotating stage. Animatronic animals moved along with a recording of songs from American history. Once the song was done, the stage would move and new animatronics would appear. After only a few months of the attraction's existence, a young woman named Deborah Gale Stone was working at Disneyland part-time as a hostess. She She leaned back in her chair while the rotating stage was changing, and it crushed her head. Deborah's family tried to sue Disneyland for their daughter's death, but they lost the lawsuit because leaning back in the chair was against safety procedure. The attraction actually continued for over 10 years, but since it was really meant to just celebrate the bicentennial, there was really no need to keep the creepy robot party going for quite so long. It eventually shut down in 1988, and it was never reopened. Number 6. Superstar Limo. The ride Superstar Limo put park guests in the position of being the hottest new Hollywood star. A moving car begins at Los Angeles Airport and makes its way through famous locations, past some caricatures of famous movie stars like Whoopi Goldberg, Cher, and Tim Allen, and ends at the Chinese Theater. The artistic style looked more like a scene out of Who Framed Roger Rabbit than a Disney park ride. It opened at Disney's California Adventure in 2001, and while some people enjoyed it, the majority of guests were confused. Some people were downright offended, specifically because the ride actually recommends getting tattoos, which is understandably troubling for some parents. In fact, Superstar Limo got such a negative reaction from local newspapers and park guests that it was closed down after less than a year. Number 5. Maelstrom. The Maelstrom ride took guests on a Viking ship, floating past characters from Norwegian folktales and legends, including a three-headed troll, a sea dragon, and polar bears. It ends with guests walking around an indoor replica of a Norwegian fishing village. There is a 5-minute-long movie at the end called The Spirit of Norway, which gave an overview of what life in Norway is like. It opened in 1988 and lasted until 2013, when Disney released the plans to rehabilitate it into Frozen Ever After. Considering that the locations in the movie Frozen were inspired by Norway, the boat and the surrounding theme did not need much changed. The fishing village became the town square of Arendelle, and guests still board a boat, only this time they see animatronic characters from the Frozen movies. The technology used in both rides is actually about the same, but guests are much happier with Frozen Ever After. Number 4. Body Wars. There was a section of Disney World's Epcot called the Wonders of Life Pavilion that was built to educate people on the human body and encourage health and fitness. It was completely sponsored by MetLife Insurance, who paid to have their company's name plastered everywhere. The most popular attraction in the Wonder of Life was Body Wars. Guests were shrunk down inside of a ship which moved as they watched a film about a group of scientists exploring the inner workings of the human body. The film was directed by Leonard Nimoy, the actor who played Spock in the original Star Trek series. Although there were other attractions at the Wonders of Life Pavilion, Body Wars was by far one of the go-to attractions in Epcot in the late 80s and early 90s. When Disney's partnership with MetLife ended, the attraction slowly began to lose more and more of its sections due to the major budget cuts. Eventually, the pavilion was converted and is now used for the annual Food and Wine Festival. Number 3. Submarine Voyage. In the 1950s, submarines were still a very new technology, and the public was fascinated by them. So it only made sense when Walt Disney wanted to include Submarine Voyage in Tomorrowland. During the 1960s, they even hired teenage girls to swim around as live mermaids. These mermaids were obviously the most popular part of the attraction. According to former park employees, people would throw money out to the mermaids as tips, and one time a young man from the Navy jumped into the water so he could swim out to their tanning rock to hang out with the mermaid girls. Security eventually had to fish him out, of course. The park eventually realized there were multiple safety issues with the mermaids, including the fact that many of the girls said that they could feel themselves getting sucked into the propellers. They were no longer a part of the experience in 1967. The ride actually lasted until 1998, when it was eventually shut down. In 2007, it was reimagined as the Finding Nemo Submarine Voyage. Number 2. Alien Encounter. The Extraterrestrial Alien Encounter, or Alien Encounter for short, was an attraction in the Walt Disney World Park in Orlando, Florida. The story of the attraction surrounded an alien corporation called XS Tech. The ride used air, lights, and surround sound in the seats to scare guests into believing that an alien monster had escaped inside of the room. Adults and teenagers loved this ride, and it gained a true cult following of fans who revisited the ride every year. However, it made many parents angry because they believed it was far too scary for kids. The ride ran from 1995 to 2003 until it was shut down and reimagined as Stitch's Great Escape. Number 1. Big Thunder Ranch. At Big Thunder Ranch, the most exciting thing you would find was a cow. Yep, a cow, and his name was Mickey Moo because of the Mickey Mouse-shaped patches on its fur. The attraction was built in 1986 as a Western-style petting zoo and barbecue restaurant. There was an old-fashioned blacksmith demonstration, but beyond that, there really wasn't much to do. In 1998, the space was renovated into the Hunchback of Notre Dame Festival of Fools. Strangely enough, they brought Big Thunder Ranch back in 2004, only this time characters from the not-so-popular Disney movie Home on the Range were incorporated, so at least the second time around, it made a little more sense. However, it was closed down a second time in 2016 to make way for Star Wars Land, which we can probably all agree is going to be a slightly more popular attraction. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below, and do not forget to subscribe for brand new videos just like this every day of the week. Also, if you're looking for something else to watch, please do check out my brand new channel. It's called Biographics. We've got biographies of notable people from the present day and the past, 20 minutes long, each kind of longer format, but similar to this. If you like this, I think you dig it. So please do go check out Biographics, link in the description below, and as always, thank you for watching.